Everyone, hope everything is going well with all of you. I wanted to touch base on tariffs. A lot of people ask me to do videos on tariffs or have asked me about it. What are my thoughts? And is this going to lead to the next depression? A lot of people back in the day said that the Smoot-Hawley tariffs in the 1930s was the reason that made the Great Depression worse. And I'm going to argue that no, it wasn't really tariffs that were the problem of the 1930s. And if Trump enacts tariffs, that's not going to lead to problems. There are other reasons why I do believe there will be hardships during the next couple of years, even though the stock market doesn't show signs of it. Now, 1930s or 1920s, what happened was you had Benjamin Strong. What happened with all these guys at the Federal Reserve is they kept rates artificially low to help Great Britain maintain their peg to the gold standard. And what was happening to Britain at the time was that they had a lot of economic problems because they were in the process of handing the baton to America. And what essentially happened was the US kept rates too low for too long, and that brought in liquidity into the stock market. And then when you had to take the punch bowl out, the whole system ended up crashing. 1920s. And it was a decrease in money supply and credit, which led to deflation. And also, you had Herbert Hoover, he raised taxes. So just think about it. You're going through a deflationary spiral, and then you decide to raise taxes. I would argue that raising taxes on the high end did not help. Tariffs were just minimal, the impact based on that. And the reason why I say that is America has always had tariffs. Now, a lot of people, though, they don't realize that in the 1920s, early 1920s, there was a nasty recession. It was right after the pandemic. And, they were raising rates during that time. And then Calvin Coolidge, they cut taxes. And then, boom, the economy started to roar. So I don't buy the notion, let's blame tariffs for the Great Depression. Just like they want to pinpoint Donald Trump. They want to go after Donald Trump. And I didn't vote, so I could say this, with an unbiased point of view. They're going to go after Donald Trump. It's like, look, the economy's turning sour, and it's because of tariffs. No. In my opinion, if I'm correct about the coming economic downturn, it's going to be because of liquidity. And we already see signs of this. M2 money supply, it isn't at the peak where it was in 2022. Money supply actually over the past few years has gone down or stayed stagnant. While stock market has ripped, Bitcoin has ripped, and that has left many people confused. Why is the stock market ripping while M2 has gone down? My thought process is because it's liquidity coming from the reverse repo facility. There was about $2.5 trillion in reverse repos in end of 2022, and that liquidity has flowed through the economy, has pumped up stocks, has pumped up Bitcoin. And I deal with reverse repo accounting. It's not that hard, as I've mentioned many times. The reality of the situation is that reverse repos is basically interest rate payments, going from, the Fed's coffers to the economy. And if for some of these firms, they're killing it. They're making a lot of money based on, all the transaction with these treasuries. Now, just imagine there's less liquidity, and now these firms, instead of dealing with reverse repos, they're just buying T-bills outright, treasury bonds outright. They're buying longer dated bonds to get the yield, to lock in a yield, rather than just deal with, short-term reverse repos. Just imagine that. And I believe that this is going to drain liquidity out of the system, because part of the Fed net liquidity is based on reverse repos. And if reverse repos dwindle, that has basically pumped money into the system. Now, with reverse repos, you've gone once again from 2.5 trillion to almost 200 billion in the past 2 years. Where are you going to get the liquidity from? Where are you going to get M2 to pump up the economy? And I believe that this is potentially an Achilles heel for the economy. It's not going to be tariffs. The globalist structure, they like, in air quotes, free trade, even though we don't have free trade, because there's thousands of pages out there. So they want to set the notion, it's these guys that are, isolationist and all that stuff. They want to promote globalism, and that's why they're going to go after this free trade argument. But they're not looking at basic economics. That's all about liquidity. If you drain liquidity after you've injected so much, guess what? You're going to have issues with it, just like late 1920s, just like 2008. And I believe we're at that crossroads once again. I could go into deeper details about the tariffs, but it didn't impact the economy too much. And it didn't help that FDR also in the 1930s raised taxes aggressively. A lot of people blaming tariffs. Forget that part. Hoover raised taxes. Once again, I think to 63%. And FDR raised taxes on the high end. I think, close to 90%. You're going to have a depression. That's what happened. And World War II bailed him out because you had a lot of people, go fight in the wars. And that enhanced the manufacturing base. And unfortunately, a lot of people died. So they got rid of workers, unfortunately. So it is what it is. A lot of people, they don't read lots of material. They don't follow different schools of economics. So they just hear what's in the media and what they say rather than trying to analyze the information in that manner. Or rather than rationalize all of the information out there. Just taking talking points from the media. Anyways, let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you later. See ya. Bye.